I'd say I spent around a week and a half doing this. I found a lot. Here's what I found. We're gonna start off with the copper pennies. These pennies were minted from before 1982. They are worth 3 cents each because they're made of copper. I'd say I found roughly 3,000 of these, and if I did the math correctly, this is around $90 in copper, but it's illegal to melt these down, so I don't really know what to do with these yet. I'll figure something out. We're gonna move on to our Canadian pennies next. I found 83 of these, with the oldest being a 1946 King George VI Canadian penny. I find that pretty cool because that's the first one I've ever found. Now these are our young heads. These are the old Queen Elizabeth pennies. They're her as, younger, and I found a couple pretty nice ones. The first nice one is a 1957. I know it says I found one of them, but it's actually two. The nicest one is on the top. It's in pretty nice shape, actually. And I found one more nice one from 1964. It's pretty nice also. I found a couple others, and now we'll move on to the next ones. These, I'm not going to say the years because that will be a very long video, but I want to say that I found a couple of these like cool bird ones. These are like centennial commemorative ones from Queen Elizabeth, but I've never found those, so I think it's pretty cool. Found one King George VI, I know it says young head, but it's young head with a G. I found 12 of those, and I found 70 others. That's 83 Canadian pennies in total. We're now gonna go to our uncirculated finds. These are just the pennies that are in very nice condition. They don't have to be, shiny or anything, but they just have good details, and they're from the 60s and 70s. I keep these because they're definitely worth more because they're copper, and the fact that they're in very nice condition makes them a bit more valuable. I found a total of 19, and the oldest two were from 1959, 2 Denver and 2 Philly. Now we're going to our wheat pennies. I found a lot of these, if you couldn't tell. They're pretty common, but they are the old US penny design, so I keep them because they're very cool. I found a lot of them. I'll reveal the total at the end. But the oldest wheat penny I found was a 1910 Philly. I found one of those. And I found a couple older ones from the teens and the 20s. We'll get into the 30s now. 40s. Of course, there's no 43. They'd be pretty awesome. Here's the 50s. And these are where they're starting to get like a lot of them. I found a very nice 1955, a pretty nice 1958, and I think the only one where we had all 3 mints was this 1953. There's a San Francisco, Philly, and a Denver, and there's no other of that. The total wheat pennies is 115. That's a lot. If I do the math, I would say it's about 1 in every 174 pennies is a wheat penny. Now here are our miscellaneous finds. These are ones that I thought were cool, had errors, varieties, or maybe something wrong with them that I don't really know. I found one proof, 1995 San Francisco. It's in pretty rough shape, but it is still a proof penny. Now we have 2 satin finishes, 2007 and 2008. These, I don't know if they're common or not, but I only found 2 of these. They're kind of like a proof, but not really. I don't really know that much about these, but you can definitely tell there's a difference. And we have this 1994 double die offers. I'll show you under the scope, but look. You can kind of see like under the 9s and the 4, there's some doubling. So I kept that, that's pretty cool. I found a 2011 double die offers. I can show you that also. You can see that on the numbers for 2011, there's a bit of doubling. On the top left and the bottom right of the 0, you can see the most, it's thicker. And I also found this 1972. That is pretty awesome rainbow toning on it. That's why I kept it. I also kept this 2021 cool toning. These two only have toning on the back, which is kind of random, but whatever. I found a grease error on this 2003. You can clearly tell that there's a lot of the letters missing on United States of America, and a little bit on the C in cent. But I know it's a grease error because the rim is all still there. This is pretty weird. I found a 1997 double die reverse. It's definitely been cleaned. You can tell pretty well. But here's what I see. When you put it under scope, there's just like near the S and the E and the T and the A and in the D in United, you can see it pretty well. And then also in E pluribus unum, you can see it. I don't know how I caught this because I wasn't really paying attention that much, but I found it and I don't know what this is worth or anything. If you can tell me, that'd be awesome. I found these two from 1969. There is Denver. There's no FG near the bottom corner of that thing, and they have a floating roof up there, see it? There's no connection in between that. Found two of those. I found just a no FG and just a floating roof also. In this 1996 penny, there's a die crack on the back side of it. You can tell that it's not a scratch, it goes out of the coin, and if I did some research on this one, it is a real like die crack that you can find. It's pretty big actually. I thought that was pretty cool. I found a dime. This was actually an Ender coin. That was pretty weird. And I found these two 1993 double die obverse. They're both from Denver, but here's what I see. See on the D, it looks like an RPM kind of, and on the 3 and the 9, I think that's all the doubling on this one. But you can see it better actually without the scope. You can kind of see it, but not really. On these 1984 Denver ones, I don't know if it's actually an RPM, rate punishment mark, but there's something happening. There's that one, and this one's kind of weird. I don't know, it's like it was pushed in, there's like a big hole near the D, but I don't know if that's mint damage or post-mint damage. If it's post-mint damage, it's not worth anything. This is also a 1991 Denver repunchment mark, see that? That's pretty big. I found this 1991 penny, it has a double rim on it. I don't think that's anything, but I just thought it was cool. These 2009 pennies are the 200-year anniversary for Abraham Lincoln, so the mint decided to make 4 different designs. Here's, I think, the second design. And these ones have an extra finger on Lincoln's hand. So this one, see, in between, on his right hand, in between the thumb and like the book, you can see an extra little finger there. I think there's a better one right here. Yeah, this one's better. It's like right in the middle. See it? It's pretty clear. I found 3 of those. This one is just my favorite design of all 4 of those 200-year anniversary ones, so I kept like 5 or 6 of those. And this is the weirdest one. I found just a dollar coin at the bottom of the box. I don't know what that came from, but it was there, so yay, I scored $1. But there was 30 miscellaneous, and I thought that was pretty cool also. Now this is my final find, and it was my best one. This is actually one of the first 2 boxes, I think. I found this in like roll 10. I was pretty excited because I've never found one of these before, and I've actually never had one before either. This is my oldest coin ever because I only go through coin rolls. I don't really buy coins very often. And this is a very awesome 1902 Indian Nib penny. I actually don't have a recording of me finding this because I was really excited, but I do have a picture too. It's actually has some very nice detail. You can kind of see Liberty, and on the back also nice detail. You can see the reef is in nice shape. This might not actually be the most valuable thing I have, but it's still pretty awesome. In total, there were 248 pennies that I found. finds in general. I did find that dollar coin and the dime. But yeah, I had a lot of fun on this hunt. I would definitely recommend people doing this, and I will definitely be doing it.